Hi, everybody. We're so excited to be here today. I'm especially excited because, well, I'll tell you in a minute. But I'm Jennifer. This is Robin. We're here with Hungry for More, and we have a special guest, Naomi, on here with us today. And it's kind of funny. I was telling Naomi when we first got on, I don't know if you were in the room yet, Robin, but Robin had said, "Hey, I follow this person on Facebook and I love her and her stuff. I think it would align and it would complement what we're doing, and let's talk to her." And then she told me who it was. I'm like, oh, I've known her literally. My
Decades.
first memory of you, just so you know, I have a vivid memory of being at your home, and you were probably 2 or 3 years old in like a little white t-shirt and a diaper, just running around. So I didn't actually know you personally, but I knew some of your siblings. And in
Hilarious.
fact, it's hilarious because one of my brothers went to prom with one of her sisters, and one of my
Mhm.
sisters went to prom with one of her brothers. And the other thing I remember is your mom had this amazing garden. I just remember this garden, like, and she taught me so much stuff as I was growing. So I didn't really personally know you then, but I knew you. And so I was like, and a few years ago, we were kind of reunited, and I got to start following you and see what you're about. And I love, love, love it. So we were, in our group, we really focus on being in touch with your body and learning to listen to your body, like not having outside sources dictate what you do or how you eat in particular with what we do, but that your body knows what your body wants. And there's all these different modalities and different ways that we can become in touch with that. So I want them to tell you, I want you to tell them a little bit about you and what you do and how you got to where you are.
I love
A
it so
lot of
much.
questions.
Yeah, I love it. I can work with it. Thank you so much. And I'm so excited to be here. And so I am Naomi Fox Reina, and I teach light-filled astrology and human design. I got into this because I was running my own branding company many years ago and doing website design and all of that. And somebody introduced me to astrology, and I had zero respect or love for astrology whatsoever. I thought it was an evil thing that we don't touch because I grew up in a conservative Christian household, and that was just the understanding. There wasn't more to it than that. But the person who brought it to me had a divine affinity for it, and she told me all kinds of things about my chart that I didn't even know existed. And I felt like she could see right into my soul, and it was a little unnerving, but I just needed to know everything that she had explained in great depth. It's like it woke something up in me. And more than anything, I could feel God in it. And so the more that I looked into it, the more I studied, I started to integrate it with my clients when I was working with their brands. And I hit six figures in my business because of that. It just really made it effortless. And then I started doing one-on-one astrology sessions. Then people invited me to do one-on-one. They wanted to learn from me. I was introduced to human design. And then people invited me to do a light-filled astrology certification. So I also certify people to be light-filled astrologers so that they can see astrology through this lens instead of those dark lenses where they're like, aha, that's the way you are. Like,
No.
and they weaponize it and hold it against other people. And that is absolutely not what we do here. And it keeps God at the center and keeps the glory and focus on the divine.
Yeah, that's awesome. Robin, we were going to talk with you. So, well, I'm going to let Robin go because we were talking about just being conscious and how it works with that.
Yeah, so we like to differentiate here. A lot of people have studied and tried, the intuitive eating, which has a lot of beautiful principles. And we always differentiate with conscious eating. This really is about true self-awareness and being able to question what is going on and what your needs are, and then meeting your needs in the appropriate way with what is really being asked of. And so that's really a differentiation here. And we were talking about how right now in the world we live in, we're going through shift, right? We hear that a lot. There's a shift, and we are evolving as humans, and we're becoming more aware instead of just kind of running the programs that we've been taught and just the way of thinking. Like, we're becoming more aware and we're evolving as humans. And right now you can just see there's so many different ways to do this, so many different modalities available. Obviously, Jennifer and I, the way we're assisting in that is to teach people to be more mindful through conscious eating. And when you do it with the eating, you also just become more mindful in your life. You become less reactive to your emotions. That ripple effect comes. And so we'd love to hear about, well, first, we'd love to hear about your experience with being in tune with your body on your health journey, but then also what your modality, how you help serve in the same capacity, helping people be more self-aware and really upgrade their experience as human beings.
I love it. And I just love what you guys do. I've always been interested in nutrition and health in everything, especially since becoming pregnant with my oldest. He turns 20 this year, so it's been 2 decades of study. I've read more books on nutrition and like lifestyle eating and health than probably anything else. And I was a full expert in being a birth professional. I taught those classes, and I also am an astrologer now. But of everything, I've always had this kind of underpinning attraction and awareness with health. Being a Virgo moon myself, similar to Robin, and Robin doesn't even know necessarily a whole lot of what that means, but often Virgo moons are very attracted to health and very aware of nutrition and very mindful and aware of supplements and quality and all of that stuff. And so my journey has been one of trying to make peace with the emotional aspect of food and the joy and the consistency that food can be, especially when there's other parts of life that aren't very reliable. You can always rely on food. And that has been a theme that I've really made a lot of peace with and acknowledged and worked through the shadow side of it. And I've tried all kinds of different lifestyle approaches. I'm not a fan of diets. I'm not a fan of the word diet. I don't like the concept of there's something fundamentally wrong with you and you're too big and we need to make you smaller. That's never resonated with me at all. But the idea of alignment and of seeking what's right and true for each individual person. And I really do believe that we have all the answers inside of us. And kind of consulting with and making friends with your body is a powerful way to be able to have the most peace and energy and all of that. I've had some significant health challenges in my life, and that has just been part of my journey. Things like chronic Epstein-Barr virus, chronic strep, hormone imbalances, and very severe adrenal fatigue. And so body health has not been something that I've ever tried to represent myself as an expert in. It's just been something that I've needed in my own world. And I always find that I gravitate towards those types of conversations.
Oh, that's great. I love something you said here and want to touch on it. You said something about, food being the consistent thing in our life when so many other things don't feel that way, don't seem that way, and joy, and how you've explored the shadow side of that, right? So there's always two sides to the coin. Like, what a beautiful thing that food does provide, that consistent nourishment. We can count on that. And that even it's turned to for joy, right? To feel pleasure. Now, the shadow side of that is when we aren't mindful around those things and just us wanting, like, we're not feeling in control. We're not feeling things are consistent in our lives. And so we're just turning to food as that default to meet that need versus the consistent need of true nourishment.
Yes.
Or for joy and pleasure. Like, we fully accept that one of the functions of food is for pleasure, joy, but are we using that? The shadow side is, are we using that to escape something we don't want to feel? Are we trying to make something that is a natural joy and pleasure that we're feeling, and we're escaping the present moment of being with that natural emotion, and we're hyper rewarding it with food because of the dopamine effect that we get from it. So I love that. Anything else you want to say to that? The work you've done on the shadow side of the joy and consistency of food?
I remember so distinctly the moment I was a single mom and really struggling financially and got on food stamps. And when you first get on food stamps in our modern world, it's fascinating what your mind goes through, because they give you so much money, like so much money for food. And so when life is unstable and you're healing from trauma consciously, or, battling trauma and you're ignoring or unaware, you have a lot of tumultuousness in you. And so that moment where I was like, I can get my needs met by buying whatever food that I want. It
Mm.
was it was like I bonded with that as a actual like crutch in my life. And kind of being aware a little bit, almost like I made a like put a pin in it, like, oh, this is going to be something to heal from later. But it's like, but I also need to do this now. Like this is now like what has to happen because there was just too much that was out of my control. And walking that journey and then the process of getting off of food stamps and moving forward in life and all of that is of course its own experience in and of itself, but that disentanglement from food is something that can solve my problem, even if it's just temporarily. I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to and maybe don't even talk about. And so that's what came to mind as you were talking, is just that moment of being aware that this was now a resource that I could count on. And then being in the aftermath of that and sitting with that older version of myself, that previous version of myself, I guess younger version, and really just allowing space for all things to be there, loving the part of me that needed that, and loving the part of me now that has more awareness and can reach to other things inside of me, other things like the quality connections that I have in my life, reach to a more rich relationship with my great and powerful God, all of those things. But just acknowledging that I think some of us here in this life have more of an orientation towards food as a coping strategy, and some people don't. And it's not like either is right or wrong, it just is.
Well, I'm listening to you even talking about that, and I'm like, really food to you, like those food stamps were almost a provider for you and a
100%.
protector. I mean, that's one of
Absolutely.
the main things in our world that we need to survive is food, right?
Yes.
And so that was being provided for you. So you could see where that would become a very important piece of what you were doing.
100%. Yes.
And I love that we can love that part of us, that that
Mhm.
was the way she could meet that need in the moment and cope,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like earmark of like, I'll have to take a look at this, but she did the best she could. And, and you were able to see that and heal that, and all of it's valid, truly.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was quite the journey because I always had a propensity for self-shaming for so long, and understanding my astrology and understanding my human design helped me tremendously to be like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me and there never was. And now I have a different frame for explaining that because I needed some logical explanation why there was nothing wrong with me. And like Chiron in the chart. Chiron is the wound. It's the soul wound. It's the thing that you're going to tango with for decades before you really figure it out. This isn't like you go to a weekend retreat and you've healed it and you're good. Like this is a big deal. My Chiron is in Taurus. So is pretty much anybody who was born from late 1976 until like 1983. And so Taurus is the sign of pleasure, food, stability, money, experiences of like of the body, the five senses, all of that. And the wound is there. And so a lot of people with Chiron and Taurus have eating disorders, like a disorderly way of approaching food, and or struggles with instability and all kinds of things with money and all of that. And just understanding that it's like, oh yeah, I opted for this experience, and it's not universal that we all experience it the same way, but that has brought me a lot of peace as well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, to just really understand, and that's why mindfulness and awareness is so important to us, because when you just understand instead of judge and condemn, and compare yourself and shame yourself, you have no access to any of this. You have no access to get out of it, out of the habits, right? But that's how we tend to motivate ourselves out of habits that we feel are bad for us. It's through the condemning and the shaming. And really, if you can just step out and just understand yourself better, be curious why,
100%.
and become aware of that pattern and what you're using it for, that's where the freedom really is.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
beautifully said. Well, tell us a little bit. So tell us now how, conscious eating and this awareness comes in, and how human design does help us, and light astrology help us understand ourselves in a way that can help us so much in our lives with food and beyond.
I love that. And it's such a broad question. And I feel like we could talk about just this one answer for hours, which is beautiful. But I think on a fundamental level, just acknowledging what we did, like there's light and shadow to all things. There's not really, we didn't really make wrong choices. We made the choices that we did, and to be at peace with that and to take what we know now and to make the best choices that we can. I think that as like a primer, as a foundation for moving forward, with us, with specifically with human design, there are 5 different aura types, and
Uh-oh, did she mute or am I?
Muted.
I'm not muted.
Oh, there it is now. Now we're back.
So
Thank you.
we had you at, with human design, there are 5 types of what?
With human design, there are 5 aura types. And so learning your human design, learning your aura type tells you a lot of how your energy governs in the world and how other people might experience you. It doesn't have to do with your personality, but it's kind of how you move through the world and how much physical energy that you have access to or don't. So that fundamentally, and then there is your authority in human design. Everybody has their own specific quote authority, which is where it is that we feel or receive answers to what is right for us individually. And so in human design, there are the two functional things are the strategy and authority. If you can master your own strategy and authority, you have the keys to literally everything in your life. You can create the most gorgeous, amazing, powerful life, and it absolutely plays into your food. Because if you understand your authority, like Robin and I are both emotional authorities, and Jennifer is what's called a mental authority. And so being an emotional authority, Robin and I are never not feeling something. And our emotions inform us on what to do. And we need to wait for the clarity because we get so excited and then we get so down and then so happy. And so, oh no, that won't work at all. And it's this up and down and up and down and up and down. And after the ups and downs, we gather all those data points and then we can figure out like, okay, now that I know why this makes me so happy or why this makes me apprehensive, now I can feel my way into what's right for me. Where Jennifer is going to know, you're going to know what's right for you by talking about it, by having a sounding board, by saying something out loud, not because you need other people to tell you, but because you need to hear yourself say it to another person. So having loving, unbiased sounding boards is going to be absolute gold for you. Just somebody who can literally listen. And then you'll know as soon as you say it, you'll go, oh, that's what's true for me. And then you'll know.
That is so true. Oh my goodness. I just love that so much. Robin, did you want to say anything else to that before we moved on? Because I wanted to ask her, well, I wanted to say something, but it's not with that.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm kind of going backwards because you said something that I just want to type in bold and put on a shirt, a water bottle, wherever people need to see it, bumper sticker it up. You said no to diet and yes to alignment.
Yes.
And this is so key. And I don't care if people eat a particular way, because there are ways people eat where maybe they feel better. But we live in this culture, in this world, and this just makes me even think about what you just said, but we just live in this world where here's this chart, you're this tall, you should be this much weight, you're this, you're that, you're that. I downloaded an app the other day for a purpose, not for dieting, but it was asking me all these questions. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. And I just think one thing that we try to do with the people that we serve is, what do you want? Like, what is in alignment with what you want? I don't want to be the size I was in high school. I want to feel good. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. And I want to not be stressed about anything that I eat because I'm listening to it. So I just want to say that I'm going to have to quote you on that. No to diet, yes to alignment, because if that is the key of the one thing that we really know is what aligns with you, because Robin could have something that totally aligns to her that I'm like, I'm not, yeah, no, thanks. Same as for you. And it's finding what aligns with you and what's going in that direction with the way you want to go. So I just loved that. And I thought it worked so great. Just even what you're saying is totally speaking to me. Like I want to dive deep into some of that. It's awesome.
I love it.
I love that too. And really, in order to experience alignment, you have to have personal authority. And when you think about how much we have outsourced everything. What should I eat? What time should I eat? How often should I eat? How much? I was a coach that took that authority for people and would tell them that in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, when you outsource it, and what we've done is we have all these different articles on like the foods never to eat again, the top 5 foods to eat. And then we have, people saying, this is the right way, or this is the right way. It's understandable why we feel like we need an authority, because we get confused and we don't know. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and said, I don't know. I don't even know what to eat, because everything I go to eat, I've heard one thing opposing the other, right?
100%.
And so
Isn't that called orthorexia? It's
Mm.
where you know so much about so many different things and foods. Like you're afraid to eat the apple because you read something and you can't eat this. And
Yeah.
before you know it, you're like, I'm just gonna grab Doritos because that sounds superior to everything else. And
It's all
like,
bad anyway. Who cares?
yeah, you're choosing out of a salad and into like a pre-made packaged whatever because you've gotten yourself so up in a tizzy. Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly. And so I love that as well. Yes to alignment, which does require you to come in and connect, for you to claim that personal authority, and to, like Jennifer said, when I recognize what's in alignment for me and somebody else at the gym is talking about them, I'm not like, oh no, I'm doing it wrong, I need to jump on them, or they're having a success this way and so I got to do it this way. No, really staying with that alignment.
Well, and adding to that, Robin, another thing, because we talk to women who are, we coach women who are in their 20s all the way up, premenopausal, menopause, whatever it is, that alignment changes as you learn to listen to your body. I eat maybe 1.5 meals a day because that's what my body's asking for, not society telling me to eat here, 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 and here. And so as that alignment comes, what you're eating and what you're doing and what makes you feel good will change.
100%.
So when you're in tune with that, you're figuring that out for your body. I just love that so much.
Yeah, great catch on that. That was gold, what she said. I'm glad you highlighted that. So why don't you tell us maybe some of the things that you have seen with human design or light astrology, that you've seen it make an impact in people's life, that is helping people evolve themselves in beautiful ways. Maybe share an example or two with us. And yeah, let's go from there.
Goodness, I feel like we could go 18 different directions with that. Just fundamentally, when you know how you are divinely designed to be, and if you can believe that and sink into it and release, it's like you just watch people just shed the layers of shoulds, and they are free now to just be how they are and really lean into their magnificent gifts. That alone will change everything. It'll change your relationship with food because it's such a fundamental experience of life, but your lens for everything changes. You become permanently different once you understand even the most basics. And so just being able to comprehend like your strategy, your authority, your aura type in human design, your astrology, your big 3, your sun, moon, and rising, just those 3 aspects of yourself, and being able to claim that and move with that and realize that, yes, you are your own authority, or take your inner knowing and also connect it to your great and powerful God and allow that to guide you. I think when we can do this, so as far as like a personal story, like what's coming to mind is just my children, like understanding my children better and knowing more about them. Like my oldest is a sacral generator, my second oldest is an emotional manifesting generator, and my youngest is another sacral generator. And so they have tons of energy and they have different eating needs because their energy is slightly higher. So they're going to need more food. Projectors typically will eat less food when we're really in tune, kind of like Jennifer was just saying, being also a projector like myself. Like I've heard it even said that projectors probably do a little better eating more like a bird, like just like having a little here, or following that intuition of like, I want a substantial meal and then, maybe a little partial meal another part of the day. And that might even change from day to day, but listening to your own energy output and kind of allowing that to move, and also putting the keys in my kids' hands. Like since they were little, I've taught them, like, what does your body say? Like, are you hungry? What do you want to eat? Like they ask for another treat and it's like, what does your body say? Like check in. And I've had my kids say, you know what? I actually don't want a second one of these things. I've had enough. And for them to kind of have that own personal authority, that's the most powerful thing I can give them, because my goal isn't to raise good kids. My goal is to raise functioning adults that thrive in society and love themselves and know how to communicate and connect effectively. I want that for them more than I want obedient children who do what I tell them to, or make me look good or whatever. But I feel like it's literally endless on where understanding yourself can impact your health journey and how you approach this.
So good. Yep, I can see it. I can see it cross over for sure, how it would be so beneficial. Now you quickly, before we jumped on, pulled our stuff. Anything else you want to say to either of us or us as partners, what you see?
So many things.
Please tell me we work together well, because we really do work together well.
Well, you already know that you work together well. I think some very interesting things to know about yourselves, like, so Jennifer, you're a single definition, which we kind of talked about a little bit before we got onto recording. So your knowing of yourself, like that flow within yourself, is just more succinct. And Robin, you're a triple split. And so you need to be around multiple people. But Jennifer, you are what's called a hermit opportunist, a 2-4. And that has more to do with personality. So you, Jennifer, are going to be more aligned with kind of withdrawing and going and being away from people seeing you. It's not, I need to be alone. It's, I need to make sure that nobody sees me while I go into this creation mode. If you think about like the greatest works of art weren't done with an audience. Like they were done in refining and perfecting and experiencing that creation. And that creation could look like reading books. It could look like, you know, being alone by yourself. And the 2 line is also called the natural. It's the hermit, but it's also called the natural, meaning like it's the kind of the energy of, oh, the piano looks lovely, I'll sit down, and then you can just like play the piano within like a few days, like you're like amazing at it. And it's like, how long have they been playing? Oh, about 48 hours. It's like, no, that's not even possible. And so it's like the 2 line will just naturally be super freakishly good at some things, but it's largely because of all of that alone time that it craves. But then unconsciously, all you want is connection. You just want to connect. And so it's like, leave me alone. Wait, where did you go? It's this walking contradiction all the time. And so your network, your people in your life are going to be absolutely vital, more so than for other people. But for you, Robin, you are a 5-1. So you're a heretic investigator. So you are here to present such practical ideas in such a different way that it will actually piss people off. They'll misunderstand you all the time and want to tie you up and burn you at the stake for the things that you say. And so the 5 line is a massive projection field. It's an incredible leader, but very few people will ever see you accurately, ever. And to just accept that and embrace it and know that people are putting projections onto you. They're like, oh yeah, Robin is so great. She totally would do this. And you're like, I've never done that in my life. Or be like, oh, Robin is terrible. Did you know this? And it's like, where did you even get that idea? Like people will have really gravitational polarized experiences of you that will literally have nothing to do with you. And just kind of knowing that and embracing that, and also learning to recognize when people see you, not just this projection in their head of you. And then unconsciously, all you want to do is study. All you want to do is like be like a walking encyclopedia, just like know all the things, and you can't not do it. And so it's like you're constantly learning, learning, learning. And then the 5 line is kind of this like, I want to universalize this and teach it to people, but also just knowing that while you're in the spotlight, a ton of people just can't see you clearly. And that's okay.
That's so interesting. Fascinating. Oh, I love it.
Very cool.
Well, what a enriching, wonderful conversation. And like you said, we could go on and split in every direction. And I'm sure we'll have you back again in the future so we can touch on other things. But Naomi, thank you, first of all, so much for taking time to be with us and to share your story and what you do and help us understand things better. How can people connect with you if they're interested in learning more about what you do? She does amazing posts on Facebook.
Like thought-provoking. Sometimes I just read them and I don't answer, and sometimes I'm like, Oh, I'm answering this. I have a strong feeling on this.
You ask really good questions and you share a lot, you educate a lot. Like it's a very valuable follow for sure. So tell us where we can find you.
Look me up on any social media, Naomi Fox Reina. And also Illuxology is where we study the light-filled life. And so if you go to illuxology.com, ILLUXOLOGY.com, I have a totally free mini course that teaches the foundations of light-filled astrology and human design. So if you don't know anything about what we kind of touched on, that is absolutely the first place to start. And I've got a ton of courses all the way up to my light-filled astrology certification.
Very good. Yeah. If this piqued your
Awesome.
curiosity at all, like you said, if you're more like, oh, that's mumbo, woo-woo stuff, we encourage you to take a look and follow that curiosity. It's safe and you might be surprised what you learn about yourself. So thank you so much.
Awesome.
My pleasure. This was so fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.